Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I hope everyone's having a good week. So today I want to do a little kind of murder serial killer video, but we're going to throw it way back to like the 15th century and we're going to talk about Countess Elizabeth Bathory, sorry. She was a real person from Hungary. She was a noblewoman, so she was born into wealth. Her dad was a baron, her mum was a baroness, and she came from a long line of like nobility. A lot of people think that Count Dracula or Countess Dracula is like based on this person because let me tell you, she killed between 300 to 1,000 young girls between the years of, I think it was like 1590 in 1610, I think. And all these people were our servants, our maids, our personal dressers, stuff like that. And what she used to do was she would like bathe in their blood because she believed that it like made them young, like no, made her younger. So she would like wear their like pluck their hair and like make potions and then like bathe in their blood and like torture them. And she actually had two servants that was in on this with her. They get charged as well, but we'll get into that. So she was born in Hungary. She was born in a noble family. She grew up wealthy, but a lot of people believe that um, the reason that she treated her servants and stuff like this and like abused them and murdered them and tortured them and stuff is because she was like a witch, and like she was brought up with like her family who were like supposedly like witches and Satanists and did blood sacrifices. So obviously to her, it was completely normal. Go figure. Um, so the reason as well, right? She had a torture chamber underneath her castle. She inherited this big castle in Hungary from her family, and underneath it there was a dungeon. They had torture chambers, torture devices, just like really really gruesome stuff, like things to like split people apart and coffins made of spikes and just like you can imagine like really really like messed up stuff like that. And she would take these young girls down there, torture them, and then she would like take their blood, and because she believed that it would make her young, keep her youthful, and like suppose like people believe that if you get someone to a point where they're really really scared and their adrenaline's going, and then you their blood, like cut them, the blood can give you this like euphoric amazing feeling. And that's why a lot of people believe that people like make blood sacrifices and Satanists and stuff, because the blood's supposed to give you a high, and it's supposed to. I know it is a known fact that like blood does tighten the skin, like it does make your skin tight. I don't know if anyone's ever cut their lip or something. You've like, and the blood's like dried, and that bit where you were bleeding's went really tight. And me, just out of curiosity, like I'm not a Satanist, don't nothing like that. I kind of hurt my lip, and I was like that. Oh my god! And I thought, why do people put blood on their face? So I kind of went like that, right, and put it on, and my face went so tight. Obviously, I'm young, so I don't need it because I've got collagen and stuff like that in my skin, and I'm all good. But a lot of people that are older that have the skin slagging or they've got wrinkles, that's going to really pull their skin and tighten it. So I do believe that it's a thing. But anyway, Elizabeth Bathory killed between 300 and 1,000 of her servants through torturing, everything. There's a story about one of her chambermaids was combing her hair and she accidentally hit a tug, and this is what supposedly started like Elizabeth Bathory's like torture spree. Like this maid was like brushing her hair and hit a tug, and Elizabeth turned around and like slapped her, and the girl's nose burst open and drops of blood dropped on her hand. And then she said the next day her hand felt really soft and smooth, and so that kind of gave her the idea to start like bathing in her servant's blood. And she got away with it for over 10 years, and the reason that she got away with these murders is because it was servants and poor people she killed. And if you're a noblewoman and you're of high status back then, you can get away with it. You still can these days, to be honest, you can get away with it. I mean, just look at Prince Andrew. But obviously back then, if you were really wealthy and stuff like that, everybody turned a blind eye, and nobody investigated her, and nobody said it because of how rich and powerful she was, and because she owned most of the land because her family were landowners. So these poor people's mums and dads, their daughters just vanished and they never thought anything of it. But obviously, obviously as time and stuff went on, people started to get really suspicious of Elizabeth Bathory, because it was like known in the town, you know, people go up there to work and, you know, they don't. I'm just at a bath, so my hair's like all frizzy. You know, people would say, yeah, as soon as you go to work for her and you go up to that castle to work, you know, you don't come back. And there was stories of certain servants that she'd let live, obviously coming home to their parents and saying that obviously Elizabeth had hit them and hadn't been nice and, you know, hadn't been feeding them and just stuff like that. So, you know, it did start to become the talk of the town that there was something not right with her, but obviously she had the power, the poor people didn't. They couldn't really do anything about it, and because she owned the land, they were living on her land, so what else are they meant to do? She also managed to rope two of her servants into this, an older female who'd been working for her when she was very young, so obviously had loyalty to her, and an older gentleman that it says on the Wikipedia page, obviously it grew up working for her family, so was very loyal to her. So these two servants would help her torture people, kidnap people, you know, abuse people, like, you know, it was the three of them. And if Elizabeth didn't want to do the torturing inside and just wanted to bathe in her blood, she would get her servants to do all the hard work, and our servants would like bleed the people, and then Elizabeth would bathe in their blood. She would take baths in their blood, like stuff like that. And there's an actual film that's based on her, and it's like The Blood Countess or something. I think it was out in the 70s. That's based on Elizabeth Bathory, and they think like Count Dracula and the whole Transylvania things like based on her and her murders. And some of the things she would do, like making them sit in hot pokers, or pulling their fingernails off, or ripping, like putting things in their tongue and ripping their tongue out, or pulling their eyelashes off, and slicing them, and putting nails into their hands and tying them up and like pulling their limbs apart. Just really start making them sit in hot, like really like hot seats that are boiling hot, that were like metal, and make them sit on it. It gave them really bad burns, ripping their hair out. Just, you can imagine, like, just really brutal stuff like that. And some of these girls are really young as well. So she did marry, and supposedly her husband, he was just as much a bad bastard as she was. He obviously helped, and he obviously had sexual intercourse with some of the girls and would rape them and abuse them as well. So but he died, and when he died, supposedly Elizabeth's behaviour got worse towards her servants, which, you know, she never had any children, but people do think when she was 13 she had a miscarriage, because it's documented or something about her falling pregnant young, and but then not having the kid. So they think that maybe she had either had a miscarriage or she got an abortion, and because of her status, and she's a noble woman, and back then if you weren't married and have a kid and that kind of stuff, it was frowned upon, especially if you were from money. So people believe she did have a kid when she was younger, but as she grew up, no she didn't. So the police went to investigate after 10 years, because all these girls had went missing. The police went to investigate, and when they first went, our servants and stuff wouldn't let them in. They then managed to get some sort of warrant that they're allowed to search the place, and they said that as soon as they walked into the castle, it was like there was dead bodies everywhere, dead girls everywhere, blood, like so much evidence, body parts down in the torture chamber. There, it was blood. There was dead people still attached to the torture equipment, like. So the police obviously arrested her, but because she was wealthy and she had money and she owned land, they couldn't execute her. They couldn't put her in jail, so they put her on house arrest basically, which means that she's under arrest but in her own castle. So she was confined to her castle. She couldn't leave, which is better than most. And because of her money, they couldn't throw her in jail, and obviously most people get hanged or whatever back then, get murdered if they committed a crime, but because of her status they couldn't. So she was confined to her room, where she spent, I think it was 6 years just in jail in her own castle, until she took not well, and at the age of 54 she passed away peacefully in her castle. And there's many books, many films, many things wrote about Elizabeth Bathory, and many things are like based on her, and just documentaries and stuff. So anybody watching this, if you want to know more, like I'd advise you go on YouTube, because there's so many documentaries and books and films. Like, it's crazy. But the things she done to these girls, it's it's crazy, and the tortures she done to them. Like, these girls must have been, especially they're going up there to work for a job, and she's doing that. Like, they're going to their desk basically. But people do think she's maybe a bit of a lesbian, like, because there was like rumours that she had like affairs with some of her female servants, and was like into like torture and BDSM. And obviously some people think because of her family history she was a Satanist and all that kind of stuff. But if you watch as well, if anyone's ever seen Hostel, there's a part where this woman goes in with like a cloak and all that on, and she takes a bath in the woman's blood, and the woman's dangling from the ceiling. That's based on her as well. So there's a lot of stuff out there based on this woman. So if you're interested in like crime and murder and serial killers and stuff, that's definitely one to go and research. And obviously it's just back then, because of her wealth, she got away with it. But it's not a lot of people think blood makes you look young, and it's known within like these secret societies and these occults that blood sacrifice, it's crazy. Like, you could go down the rabbit hole with it all, you really could. It's crazy when you think about it. It's nuts. But it makes my blood go, like, excuse the pun, makes my blood go all cold, like. The irony of that. So yeah, so that was Elizabeth Bathory, a Hungarian serial killer for the 15th century. Also, they think she's the most notorious serial killer in history. Like, she's killed the most people. Like, if you go and look at her Wikipedia page, like, she's the most notorious. Like, she killed between 600 to over 1,000 people. Like, they think she's one of the biggest serial killers, like, body count basically, which is mad. So if you're interested, definitely go and check that out. I hope everyone enjoyed this video. I hope everyone has a good week, has a good weekend. Stay tuned for more videos. If you like this video, don't forget to like and subscribe so you can get updated when I post more videos. Any suggestions, just leave a comment or your comments below. I'll also drop my social pages below, my social media pages, so you can get me on that, so you can keep updated. And hope everyone just has a nice month, a nice whatever, and stay gorgeous. Mwah! So edit, I watched something last night, and supposedly as well, like, Elizabeth Bathory was into cannibalism, so she would like kill them, torture them, and then she would eat them. And then what she would do is, like, she'd cut bits of their skin, and when she was torturing them, when these girls were still alive, she would get them to eat themselves. Like, oh my god. And it was actually 4 servants that she had involved, not 2. I originally said it was 2, but it was 4. And what was the other thing? Supposedly as well as like bathing in their blood, she would like hang them from the ceiling and like slowly like cut them and stuff and torture them and let their blood like drip on her, and like, so I thought I would just add that in because I didn't see in the video, so I was like, best add that in because that's quite important as well. And it was actually, the reason that she got caught is because she was getting away with killing peasant girls, because obviously like they were poor and stuff and she could get away with it. But what got her caught was she killed a nobleman's daughter. This is like someone that owned land and was wealthy, because Elizabeth Bathory started up a private school for like girls with money, and she started using that private school to find victims. But these girls came from wealth and noblemen and people that worked in parliament, and that's when she started killing them. That's when she got herself caught, because these girls were from wealth and status, so when they went missing, like, it was a big deal. And obviously that's kind of why she got caught, because she started killing noblewomen. And it was actually her cousin, Elizabeth Bathory's cousin, who worked in the police or something, that charged her. So it's actually not so, but supposedly as well she was a witch or something, and one of her servants was a witch, and all this murdering and stuff was like sacrifice. I don't know. But obviously, like, this really happened. She's a real person. Like, it's in the court documents for the time and like, that really happened. Whether she was a witch and stuff, they don't know, but like, she did torture people and stuff like that. It's a legit story. She's a real person. It's not a myth. It's not legend. It's not made up. She's legit, and it really really happened. Like, just go and check not the Wikipedia is true, but you know, she is a real person and it did happen. So this isn't a myth. So scary stuff. But anyway, if I did that in.